saw some people trying to build TCs at the gold and lost 4 or 5 villagers there. We had a lot of T90 woos in the chat, so let's see about that. And also, let's take a look at the civilizations on the other side. It seems like I'm not really seeing a strong knight civilization there.
Yeah, we got a brief pause in the game, and I've finally taken down my overlay, noob streamer over here. But yeah, you're talking about on the Brazilian side.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got an Aztec, if we can call it a pocket, an Aztec pocket there, Vietnamese, and Vikings in the bottom. And man, that seems like a very strange set of choices for this game. Kind of all three, well, at least 2 out of 3 of those I think of as archer civs. So it should be interesting to see what their composition is. You think there's a re here, Nili? We've got to pause right at 3:59.
At 3:59, it's your typical let's pause and discuss restarts timing. So it is not unrealistic, but who should restart? Honestly, I feel the maps are all looking pretty fine, and we see it is no restart. And yeah, so they will continue. And I still am scared for the Brazilians here. If it goes into mid-castle age, what will they really have when it comes to the firepower? I can see eagles, I can see crossbowmen from the Vietnamese player, but what is the army composition of Riot going to be?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Rhea playing in the south here in the teal. He's going to be building up with 3 vills on the wood line early. So maybe we won't see men at arms. But we do have all of these extra farms to factor in. So we're not exactly on the Arabia meta. Goats coming in from all corners for all players. It actually looks like a massive amount of goats have just been found by DeGao. But everybody's getting their food ecos going. 4 vills on wood for Tato on the pocket on that side. Mr. Viper with 3 as the Britons. Britain's flank on this map seems pretty strong to me. Slav's flank, as you said, could be some scouts. I'm just really excited, Nili. I can't even get my head around this game. Just glad to be here with the man himself, Mr. Nili.
First pressure. Yeah, the question is, who do you really want to send the goats to? I think, honestly, Dowd should send all his goats to the Viper, because he is Slavs, and if you try to play this as optimal as possible when it comes to team strategies, Slav only farms and Britons mainly sheep. Sounds better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good point. Certainly sending at least a few of those goats over would be really wise from Dowd. We can see Viper is chewing sheep really aggressively. He knows the Civ bonus. Tato with just a couple vills on sheep, and Dowd is just straight up farming. So Dowd's making a good call there by keeping everyone on farms. A little bit of chaos in Riot's economy, but he's got a couple of villagers on goats. But yeah, Dowd is farming. He's doing that correctly. But I agree with you. Sending those sheep over seems like a very wise move. The Viper does seem to have the bulk of the sheep on his team now, but he could always use more.
Yeah, you could always use more. He's already trying to wall up, but look at that. Those are weird walls. It's not really team walls. It's more protecting some sort of his wood line. But if we look at the other side, the Brazilians, that looks like a team wall coming up.
Yeah, the Brazilians do have a bit of a team wall. The red players walled himself in. We still have a lot of work left for DeGao to do, but he'll probably get it done before any major action happens. It is just palisades for each player, and of course you can go the long way around the horn and get into their maps, but at least the center, they're going to wall out. It's obviously nice to have these walls up, but of course with all of the big hills in the center of this map, it's not so difficult to push through those walls even in the feudal age. So we'll see if that works out for them. We're also seeing some walls from Dowd and a barracks coming down as we speak.
Yeah, and that will be scouts. He will wall the front as well. I'm a bit surprised he probably will build his stables on top of his mill, so they all will play this pretty far together, or pretty close together. Dowd and Viper going for the aggression, and look at that. Seems like Tato is playing FC here. He's going up very fast.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Tato has kind of obscured his gold a little bit. There we go, mining camp coming down, villagers moving out there. Doing a little Xing. These guys are finding the last couple of goats. As we said before, the Brazilian team is making a team wall, and they're trying to complete that wall. The teal player is circling it all the way around. He's got 2 villagers out walling, so that may slow him down a tad. Miguel is on the way up, the Viper is on the way up, Dowd is on the way up, and Tato is just grabbing Loom. So it looks like the Tyrant team will be more aggressive in the feudal age, potentially. And it looks like the Brazilians will take a little more time.
Yeah, it seems like double FC here out of the Brazilian house, and one player going for some archers. And on the other side, we have two players going feudal army, and only one player playing FC. So if the walls are standing strong, the Brazilians won the mind game.
Yeah, the Viper hits the feudal age, drops double ranges right away. That shouldn't surprise anyone. Doubt is up. He's dropping a stable. The teal player is still waiting for his feudal to come. So is Degao. But in the north, Miguel will hit the feudal age in just a moment. A couple villagers out on gold for him as Vietnamese, and I would expect to see some archers there. So this thing is about to heat up, and at least as you said, so far it seems like the Brazilians are walled in, even double palisading most of their map. Pretty safe.
Yeah, they're walling the front, and the Tyrants are very concerned about walls to the front, but look at that. Miguel is building his archery ranges on the outside, so we'll kind of try to attack, yeah, that way. The Viper is somewhat walled, but Tato still super open, so he kind of needs to wall this up. Otherwise, Tyrants won't do damage, but the Brazilians will.
Yeah, Tato dropping double ranges down, so even after maybe going up a little bit later, he's going to have, or is one of those, did you get a blacksmith? No, double ranges and a blacksmith. That blacksmith is the Vipers. So Tato here will be up, but he is not clicking up to castle just yet. Going to hang in the feudal age and pump out a couple of archers, so that's a little surprising to me. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was a complete switch. I didn't realize that. So that will be double archery range, and they need to do even more damage than we thought. Oh god, they need to build an offensive tower now in the middle of Dogao's face here and try to tear down those walls, because it will be triple feudal age aggression, and Dogao needs to get those stone walls up. Otherwise, they could die here very early.
Yeah, Degau's stonewalling up, as you said. He's got enough villagers here to probably get it done. The Tyrant boys, one of them has fletching. That's the Viper already with fletching, so he may be able to reach and annoy those villagers pretty nicely. But stonewalls have already come in for Teal. He's stonewalling Riot all the way around his base, and stonewalls are also coming for the red player, at least on the front side. So all of the Brazilians are spending a lot of stone here and a lot of villager time to try to defend themselves.
And, well, we have pop quiz time. A Viking player stonewalling himself and going for coinage. Killer B, what are we about to see?
I have no idea. Does it rhyme with ping?
Yeah.
Are we going to see
exactly.
some...
And who will he do the word that rhymes with ping? I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with Ogao.
Yeah, Degao dropping down barracks as we speak on the way to Castle Age, and we could see some sling flying around between the Brazilian side. Probably won't totally surprise the Tyrants. I mean, seeing Vikings here in the first game might have tipped them off a bit, but it is a very defensive play so far from Degao. He's getting pressured a bit. He's had to spend some stone on stone walls. He's also dropping towers. So Degao here will be sitting with 80 stone in the bank on the way to Castle Age. So booming up the economies on that Brazilian side might be a little tricky since they've spent a good bit of their stone.
Yeah, but that's absolutely not what he's going for. He just wants to get those eagle numbers out. Will go for eagle warriors, and that will get tricky. He continues to get, well, the bad sling from Rio here, not really slinging efficiently. And now they will try to pressure, but it seems like the Tyrants now walled up the back as well. They seem to be safe and should be able to stabilize. Very little amount of killing going on so far.
Yeah, and at this point, you would think Tyrant, they probably can see the writing on the wall with that quick castle and the stone walling around all sides. And I wonder if we'll see some stone walls on the Tyrant side as well in the next couple of minutes. Because, of course, archers are not going to counter eagles very well. But we'll see.
We will indeed see. Dowd is going up to the castle edge. Maybe he can build a lot of knights there to get in front of the archers. Viper now trying to get around here, trying to attack against Miguel, but he is towering up. He walled quite a bit as well. And the distance to Dogao will be short as well. Let's take a look where Dogao is trying to put on the pressure first.
Yeah, as you said, Degao getting that sling, getting the Eagle Warrior upgrade has +2 defense, which makes sense versus archers. And he's also got a Mangonel out already with a second one on the way. It's going to be 3 barracks as far as I can see pumping out eagles. So, of course, the numbers will come out a little slowly at first, but once those numbers do get established, it will be really scary. Viper and Doubt are going to work together to try to push in on the red player Miguel. They're going to try to pick down his house on the northern part of his map. And Miguel may not really have the stone to drop another defensive tower. 45 stone in the bank right now for red.
Yeah, and I believe Togao did receive some stone sling as well, so it's not really an option that Riot is giving him more. Now we can see Miguel trying to defend there, but heavily outnumbered. I think that's a fight he cannot really take, and Viper and Doubt will break through here.
Yeah, Viper and Doubt breaking through on one side as the purple player Degao is trying to break through on the other. Tado's base is a lot exposed. He's on the way to Castle Age, and now there are Eagles and Mangonels rolling toward his economy.
And Doubt only has one stable here. They're really relying on him going for a lot of army. Tado is probably going into elephants now to counter those Eagle Warriors. As you can see, he's rushing out 2 stables.
Yeah, the Viper and Doubt have still yet to land too much damage. They've killed a couple of Miguel's army, but they're not really in. Who is really in is Degao, and he can start to spread those eagles through this eco if he wants, but it seems like for now he's going to try to bludgeon some of these buildings down with his Mangonels.
Oh, and look at that timing. Sorry for interrupting you. Tado wants to go to the outside, wants to go to the gold, and look who is waiting there. Mr. Miguel.
Ooh, sneaky play. Yeah, Miguel is Johnny on the spot here, and he's going to grab a couple of vills there for really cheap. Tado is sending an army as well out to the gold to maybe try to pincer that group from the red player. But yeah, very well timed.
Oh, that's so ugly. And yeah, well, Tado, he did even send some archers there to kill the wolves. But now, the Viper could be in a pickle. Doesn't have a lot of army there to defend against 2 Mangonels and, well, something like 2 dozen of eagles.
Yeah, the Viper is Castle, Crosswoman, and Boncanero coming. Blue player Tado is out to fight the red army from Miguel, and it looks like he should be able to clean Miguel up, but these lions are really helping Miguel a lot. They are going full melee on the archers, and Miguel is actually going to win that fight in the end against Tado.
And it was also 1-1 upgrades against 0-0 and the Vietnamese HP bonus. On the top we have the Viper trying to micro off against the Eagle Warriors, not doing too well there. Only has +1 attack, and now the Eagles all got cleared up. The Mangonels completely going into the TC, so the main fight in the middle seems to be won by the Tyrants here. Those elephants pretty strong against Eagle Warriors.
Yeah, Degao maybe you could say blundering those Mangonels to the TC, but they were dead meat anyway because the elephants won easily and they were going to come over and kill them. But that first batch of Eagles did not pay off. The Vikings player Riot is still in the feudal age. I haven't seen exactly how much he's been sending, but he's been slinging his opponent Degao for those Eagles, so they really need to pay off. It's essentially 2 players working together to build that army.
Well, but if Eagle Warriors aren't paying off, maybe Elite Eagle Warriors will, because Togao, even on 30% Imperial Age here, he still has quite nice numbers, 24 military for him, and still active, still grouping up, and then it gets really scary, and I wonder, Elite Eagle Warriors against Battle Offense, still not a great fight, but he can still continue to raid all the map.
Yeah, for now, Degao is still trying to raid the Viper in the north. The Tyrant team has not really expanded out to any of the extra resources. Tado tried, but he died doing so. So neither team has established an economy on the corners yet.
That's true. And Miguel will reach Castle Age now as well. So they will even have some crossman over there as well. And as we can see, Dogao and Miguel now moving out with some villagers. And Doubt has 1 scout there, so should be aware of that, and that could be some dead villagers for sure. Doubt is now moving out to the right hand side as well, so seems about this timing where you go for the outside, but it's only the calm before the storm, and the storm is called Dogao.
Yeah, Doubt is already with his scout, standing there waiting to attack these villagers. The lions, of course, will come in and do some damage as well, but Doubt's alarms are going to be ringing, and he's going to know it's time to send an army. Does have a good number of knights. For now, Doubt is defending his own army coming up, and those Eagle Warriors on the right side of the map are coming in to try to deny this TC, but I don't think there's enough number of them yet.
It seems like only 2 villagers died there of the Brazilians. Right-hand side seems to be defended as well. Not 100% sure. Should be pretty even. DoA will get the TC up. That's the main thing here. So the Eagles are shut down. And now the most important thing is, can the Tyrants hold the center area here of the map? Can they defend against that very scary push of our Aztecs player in the purple trunks?
Yeah, BoA, he decided to take that fight with DoA's Knights, and I think he was hoping to win that fight and kill a couple Vills and be annoying, but more Eagles biting the dust, and that army that is in the middle, it's big and it's scary, but that number of Eagles is a lot smaller than it could have been, but who cares about what could have been? Those Eagles are diving in now, and they're going to start harassing this economy as much as they possibly can. DoA will be defending a bit with Bloodlines and +2 defense Knights, and we do have Battle Elephants out for Tato.
Yeah, let's see about that. And remember, we only have 1 gold spot per player in the middle of the map. So the spot where the BoA is going in is actually hurting the Tyrants quite a bit, because the Viper and Tato are getting raided there. Still not a lot of stuff over at the right-hand side. And let's see, maybe slinging Tato could have been an option now to try to get him onto Battle Elephants. But seems like the Tyrants aren't going for that yet.
Yeah, Tato's got enough elephants to clean this up, but of course they're quite slow, so he is taking a little bit of damage, and his gold is idle, so that's going to be annoying for him. He has established a TC on the right corner right now, it's just finishing, so Tato will have a gold economy going, but there'll be a brief hiccup there. The Viper has been a tad quiet. I don't know where his army is. I think he's booming up a bit. No, he's on 59 Vills. Where's the Viper's army at this point?
Well, he has some army over at the base of DoA trying to defend there. They are trying to fight this off. 3 against 1, completely combined forces. Where is Mr. Miguel? He is lacking there as well. Could help out some, but wouldn't be very efficient against either Crossbowmen of Britons, Knights, or the Elephants. I love the addition of those monks of BoA though.
Yeah, of course, the monks are a natural counter to elephants, and they'll do pretty well economically versus the knights if they can get the job done. But the monk number is not quite high enough, and the tyrants are pushing out. There's too many knights and too many elephants here for now, and there's just not enough spam coming forward for those eagles, which have pretty much been cleaned up. So it does seem like Tyrant will solidify their side. Villager counts across the board are pretty similar for everyone except for DoA. DoA is on 90 villagers, and he's really getting out of control with his economy.
Yeah, he added his second TC before he even added his second stable here. And he's even building the university and the siege workshop, so kind of indicating to go to Imperial Age as well. Doesn't have the highest knight numbers, but it seems like they're holding this quite nicely. The Viper now on the way to Imperial Age as well. BoA only now going for the +2 attack, and horse color here at the 32-minute mark.
Yeah, Tyrant team pushing back out. They're going to take the top of the hill. Those battle elephants seem to have really done a nice job versus the Eagles. The knight number from DoA, as you said, is not terribly high. 21 military for him, but his resources, he'll click up any moment. Monastery's coming in the middle of the map from Miguel. He's also got a couple ranges in the middle, but all of those middle buildings right now from the Brazilian team are going down for free because the Tyrant guys are taking over.
And look at the KD of BoA. He is the one who should have slaughtered 100 villagers here, but only 80 to 113 kills. Kind of underwhelming, I have to say.
Yeah, the Eagle spam was a nice idea. It certainly would have caught me off guard, but the map is so clustered up and it's so difficult to kind of move between opponents. It's so closed that I don't think it was doing as much as maybe BoA wanted it to do. And the choice of battle elephants from Tato there seems to be a really, really nice choice to counter that raiding.
Yeah, and I feel the battle elephants are really a good unit here to counter off those Eagle warriors. More the surprising to me is that Tato is now doing coinage. Why is he slinging? Shouldn't he be the guy who gets the sling?
It's an interesting point. I wonder if it has something to do with the villagers on the edge of the map. It seems like the Viper is just getting out to the edge to get some gold. Maybe he's a little bit dry on gold. His gold pile back at home is gone. So the tap is run dry for the Viper for a moment until he can establish a new gold economy. I don't know. That's just a random guess, but the Tyrant boys are still bludgeoning down the front walls here of the purple player. That army from BoA is 38, so he's got an army somewhere, and it is elite Eagle warriors, I believe all of those numbers. So he's going to make a push back at this. Miguel is also waiting with those Vietnamese crossbows with +2/+1. And they just need to buy some time if they're going to have a chance to stop this attack.
And the big problem is Miguel doesn't really have the strong army that can really contribute in this army here. Now the big raid of Doubt coming around, and those are more villagers than should fit in the TCs. I believe we will see some dead bodies here.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't even see that, but Doubt going for a raid. There will be a counter raid from Degao in a moment on the other side, but what matters now is that Doubt is absolutely dicing up the gold economy of the entire Brazilian team except for 3 villagers who are safe. The purple player Miguel will dive in as well. His eagle numbers look to be about a dozen. So he will get some kills here. He will get some annoyance in, but Tato very wisely has a stable here and already has a couple elephants out. So I think Tyrant will deal a little bit better with that raiding than the Brazilians did.
Yeah, great anticipation. They're building 2 stables. It felt kind of weird to me. I've thought like, yeah, just put 2 elephants there, but it just makes so much sense. You can reinforce faster, you see the raiding coming, can produce some, but the most important thing is really the push in the middle. Doubt now getting in his +4 defense, his cavalry upgrade as well, and this looks like a very strong push by our Tyrants here.
Indeed, Arbalest is in for the Viper. Those Britain's Arbs are going to obviously have a lot of extra range. They will be absolute killers on top of that hill. Mangonel could pop out for Degao and try to do some damage, but they're Arbs, and it's going to be fine. The elephants are roaming in. It feels like Brazil has one last big push with the Eagle Warriors of Degao. He's got 54, but I don't think they're going to cut the mustard, and I think this game is about to be over.
It feels like military count still is pretty scary for Dogao, but look at that, he is attacking into a choking against battle elephants here that have 250 HP against his 60 HP, damage output roughly the same, so that will never be nice for him, and suddenly he's dropping below 30, dropping below 20, and this has to be the GG coming in pretty soon.
Yeah, in the meantime, Doubt is on Cavalier, and he's raiding that eco to the left. The GGs come in, and game number 1 goes to Tyrant. Pretty an entertaining game there, Nili. What do you think about the big move to go with walling up and slinging for the teal player, Riot?
Honestly, I kind of felt they didn't pick the greatest civilizations there. It seems like, okay, they realized how the map is shaped and that you can easily wall this up and therefore sling very protected, but you cannot really do damage there with that stacks. And that's a big problem. I also hate that Rio did the wrong sling there. If you sling uneven numbers, you're just throwing away a lot of resources. It's way less efficient. I will do a video on that pretty soon because I'm really getting annoyed that top players don't know about that still. And it just feels like melee was a perfect counter to the strategy that Dogao was going for as well.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point about the sling. I can't wait to see that video because I'm pretty ignorant to that as well. But yeah, absolutely, that's a huge factor in the game. I think Tato's double stables were brilliant to protect the corner of the map, and I think we'll see that more out of players on this map as we move through the tournament because it just makes a whole lot of sense to reinforce that side.
And yeah, obviously we said Britons are so good because it's so tight and you can defend 1 point quite nicely. The range makes so much difference, and well, Dogao just took so much time to break those walls at the front. Then the second time, yeah, he got the raid at the end, but the Tyrants just did the perfect directions. And yeah, super excited to see the other games.
Absolutely, me as well. If you don't mind, I'll put you on mute for a moment and say hello to a few people in the chat, and we'll get ready for game 2.
Do that.
All right, see you soon. So that was Mr.
No static for a change. And yeah, let's see about the KD here. Doubt in the end actually getting a lot of kills, killing a lot of villagers on the outside there. Took some good engagements against Miguel in the end.
Sorry,
a lot of those 107 kills in his own bank. And Dogao, 200 losses there. Obviously, Warriors are kind of a number unit, but nonetheless, not the greatest move here by the Brazilians. I'm not sure.
Sorry about that, guys. I can't figure out how to mute on Skype. We're not usually using Skype so much. But yeah, Mr. Nili there. Oh, is it still making noise?
And what civilizations? They still have in store.
We'll turn this all the way down for a moment. And yeah, So I'll say thanks everyone for being here. You can see that I've rearranged the setup a little bit. We are running on battery. We're still on 22%. So okay, we did all right for the game. I just wanted to catch up quickly with the chat, and hopefully we can jump into game number 2 here in a minute. The Battle of Africa game number 1 will go to the Tyrant team, so we should give them a point. They earned it after all on the little scoreboard here. But yeah, hello to everybody. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for being part of the channel. And hopefully you're having a good time. I did see Ice Cream a moment ago saying nice overlays and design. Thanks very much. It was something that I needed to do a lot sooner. Did I get this right? Looks like I gave the wrong team a point. Yeah, Brazil just got a point. Okay, well, that's not the way to do it, Killer B. There's no error in this other than my error. So let's give the right team a point here. Tyrant Boys grabbing a point. Life is good for them. Going into game number 2. I think game number 2 is going to be Arabia, if I remember correctly. What do you guys think about that play from Brazil in game 1? They went for walling up, stonewalling, and slinging. And I wonder if that was ultimately a good decision. The Elephants just crushing the Eagle Warriors on the other side. We still hear Nili, says Squares. Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, I'm not used to using Skype very much. Kind of an ad hoc stream. We're going to work this thing out as the Battle of Africa goes on. The next game is launching now, so we'll have about a minute and a half before it is live. And we'll bring back Nili here in just a moment. Let's see, didn't get it why Riot would sling in such a small map. I think that's a really important point. I thought at first, okay, the Brazilians have a lot of archer civs. They're going to wall up. They're going to get, big armies of archers. They're going to defend a little because it's a small area. They wanted to raid, and I think it's really hard in a small area, like you said. I mean, 2 or 3 panels of stone wall, and you've blocked yourself off from your teammate in some cases, and that's really not conducive to raiding, especially when you have to reveal the map and raid at the same time. This can make things really tricky. Let's see, no space to expand for a big eco. Let's see, try not to mess up the overlay against this Salty. Everybody is hyped. The Elephants and AoE are back, and we got a little doubt face from Mega House. So very good. We're going to keep trying to cast through these games, but we will be up against it a little bit as we move forward. I got 20% right now left of battery, so we may need to throw a host over to Nili and let him take over, but we'll still be here to co-cast. Nili, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to rest a bit more before the game starts.
All right. All right, we'll mute for a moment. Nili, you'll still hear him in the background talking to his chat. That's a low-tech stream, but at least we'll give him an opportunity to rest up. Our main man, Nili, is an absolute, I don't know what you'd call it. He's an endurance athlete in AOC, able to do these crazy amounts of streaming for 40 hours and all this crazy stuff. So, of course, you got to take that rest if you're going to do such intense work. Grumpy Pirate, how many W's is your adapter? What kind of laptop are you using? So I'm using a MacBook here. This is a MacBook Pro. And I'm in the EU, so I think the wattage should be, what, 220? Or is that the voltage? Man, I'm glad to be a biologist and not an electrical engineer of some sort. We are keeping it somewhat in shape. We're kind of getting this weird charging for a couple of minutes, and then it would say plugged in, discharging, plugged in, charging. We're going back and forth, and I assumed it was because of the high CPU usage, like just burning through a lot of power. That's voltage, says Ash. Okay, good. Let's see. No space for to expand to have a big eco. Yeah, a lot of people rolling in and saying hello, and I appreciate you all stopping by. Belgium had it on point. Ria will sling Degao for eagles, and Ellie's melt eagles. So Belgium saw it coming from a mile away, and that is absolutely how it played out. The Eagles did not stand up for very long versus that elephant. It wasn't even elephant spam. It was just a couple of elephants to hold the fort down. Degao had a lot of eagles in that game. He probably built 100 eagles. but he sent in the first 20. They did some damage, but eventually dying. The second 20 were trying to raid in the corner, but they got cleaned up. It just felt like he never really had that full, scary Elite Eagle army. He lost a lot of Eagles before Elite came in. But hey, hindsight's 2020, obviously. And in game number 2, we'll see, I assume, a different strategy from both teams. They probably got something prepared for the Arabia game. Specs have still not even begun to count down, so we've got at least 2 minutes. I know many brands have tried to cut corners by shipping with weak adapters and forcing systems to compensate with battery power. Okay. MacBook Pros require higher wattage charger. Okay. Did you buy a new charger? Nope. I'm using the one that came with the device. Is that your recommendation?
Monks in Alicante would have kept Shadow from reaching critical mass on better alerts.
We'll turn Nili off in your ears for a moment. Elephants did really well because the playable area was so closed. Yep, I totally agree. I totally agree with you there. That is definitely something I agree with. The game sound in that game, guys, how was it? I was having trouble in my headphones hearing it properly. It seemed like it was incredibly quiet. So hit me up if that's an issue for you as well. We loan out chargers to library desks to students. I can tell you that a MacBook Air charger would not adequately power a Pro. I see. MacBook Pros require higher wattage. I wonder if I would have an Air charger. That would be weird, since I have a Pro. But if you're saying they're cutting corners, that would make sense. Let's look at the charger. Oh man, I'm under my desk. Oh yeah, the specs are counting down. Wonderful.
Wonderful indeed. "30 seconds to go, and we will be around on Arabia now. Obviously, the probably most played map on all Age of Empires. I'm pretty curious if they can get some walls done, and especially what strategies they will go for now. Again, Mr. Jordan will be benched. Killer B, take it away."
Yeah, absolutely. Let's launch into game number 2. Hello, everyone. It is game number 2 of the Battle of Africa group stage. It is Tyrant. It is Brazil, and it is going to be the Viper, Doubt, and Tato taking on the Brazilian side. Sorry, my screen's loading here still. Degal, Miguel, and Riet. We've got Mayans, Magyars, and Italians for the Brazilian team, and on the other side we have Franks, Indians, and Malians. It will be the Arabia map, the openness, and the gameplay that we're used to a bit more. So both teams will have a very strong understanding of the map and the meta involved, and I think we'll see maybe a more standard game than we did last game. But I'm here with Nili, and I want to ask what your thoughts are, my good friend.
I don't really think we will see more standard game. I think this should be a restart here out of the Brazilians. Honestly, Malian pocket. If you have Italians and Magyars, it's 66% that you have a solid pocket there. Malians, I believe they are just too slow. That you cannot really help. He needs to get super aggressive, but it's not like an enemy is very far on the outside so that Dugal could maybe flush or tower rush him. I think this should be a restart for the Brazilians.
That may be what they're thinking as well, because both flank players are going not desperately forward, but going very, very early forward to maybe see if they can pick some resources and either make it a better situation or, I don't know, force the other team to restart. But for now, the Teal Scout looks to be running straight at Tato's TC, so he's going to not find anything yet. And the Red Scout from Miguel is roaming around the Viper's base. We'll have to see if they can steal something.
Yeah, and you see how unusual aggressive they are, because they are hoping to maybe force a restart out of the enemies. If maybe both get a boar steal, they hope, okay, maybe if we put them under a lot of pressure. They might pull the plug and ask for a restart, but it seems like they are both unsuccessful, and I would be very surprised if Brazilians are trying to play this out.
Yeah, both of those flank players unable to do any damage, and of course Miguel is a little bit wrong-footed. He's got no goats under the TC because he went forward so aggressively, and he actually doesn't seem to know where his resources are to keep his villagers going. There's 6 idols under his TC, and we'll see a rematch called.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, and yeah, would be super unfortunate for them if the Mayans is getting pocket again, but okay, it seems like John is still in the TeamSpeak there of the Tyrants, and now they're asking him to leave there. Let me quickly check. It is kind of tough. They only have 1 minute 30-second spec delay as well, which is kind of the minimum you can go for in Boobly. And normally we have seen more in that important games. The maximum allowed in this tournament is 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a very nice way to say, what the heck, man? Miguel, being a sweetheart here, can you leave the Tyrant TeamSpeak at least? Yeah, Jordan will leave the TeamSpeak, and he will continue to spectate, of course. That would be a major problem. If they wanted to cheat, they certainly could with him in the TeamSpeak. Game number 2 will relaunch. It will be Arabia again, and as Nili was saying, the Brazilians will hope for A, finding a better resources early, and B, for a better Civ, how should I say it, arrangement in the next game.
Yeah, absolutely. And they only did find their resources so late because they wanted to lane, because they wanted to force the restart. Mm-hmm. Maybe they felt, okay, if both of us can steal a boar or an elephant in this case, we might still play this. But yeah, taking a risk there didn't instantly pay off, and they went for the restart. The safe thing here. No worries. Every team has 1 restart in those best of 5s.
Yeah, absolutely. So if that's the case, then we won't see another re from the Brazilian side, but probably a well-spent restart. The Viper, Tato, and Doubt will be ready in the game here in about 30 more seconds. They'll be taking on Degal, Miguel, and Riot. Let's do it again. Let's try again.
Okay, we will. And yeah, I'm excited. Jordan is benched again, and I think he should be out of TeamSpeak now. But I think it didn't really influence them. They did see both scouts as well, so they knew the Mayans was pocket. And we're jumping into game number 2, try number 2 with Killer B.
Let's try again, Mr. Nili. It is the Battle of Africa group stage, game number 2. We just saw a restart from the Brazilians, so they won't have any of those left. It will be the Viper, Doubt, and Tato. It will still be Franks, Indians, and Malians for that team. On the other side, Degal with Mayans, Miguel as Magyars, and Riot as Italians. And where is that Mayans player this game, Nili?
He's pocket again. But this is actually better than before because his distance is shorter to Miguel. So maybe he can somehow take him over, can maybe double with Expos, can maybe build archery ranges, and they can switch around. But the distance to Viper is just so long as well, so it will get tricky. Maybe he just goes for a crazy tower rush towards Doubt? I have no idea yet.
Yeah, and they would be potentially able to force a restart like they might have been trying to do last game by stealing some resources. Miguel is forward. He did go a long way across the map to find the Viper, and he almost was here in time to steal some goats, but now he's here in time to take a bunch of damage on his scout, which will be a little bit of a setback for a player who's playing as Magyars. So the red player is roaming around. I don't think he can steal an elephant too easily with 18 HP left, but yeah, that was his attempt to force a restart, I suppose, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. Didn't he see the elephant there? I thought, look at that, he saw 2 elephants and still ran through the TC. Kind of weird for me. And yeah, what was he looking for? Didn't take good care, as it seems. Now needs to go back, needs to push some deer, because that's the only thing he can do with this low HP scout now.
Yeah, the red player will start to lure in his own boars and build up his eco. His villagers won't be idle this game. There's still some goats under his TC. But taking a little damage there will be annoying because he's Magyars and the Viper is Franks, and it would not surprise me too terribly if both of those players were going scouts. And having a little more HP on your initial scout will probably help the Viper a lot. The Viper is a flank. His teammate Tato is the Malians in the pocket. Tato luring in his elephants now. And the other flank is Doubt playing in the green. And he and Riot did not do any laming to each other yet. Both of those players... Oh, no, here we go.
You're saying that. And he needs to rush out of the house now. Will be forced to do loom, or will he just try to... No, he will just try to go for the house. There were 3 villagers, so some laming in the end.
I think it's
nothing too major.
I think it's a good rule that whatever I'm saying at the moment is going to immediately be wrong. Those scouts will chase each other back home, or rather, Riot will chase Doubt back home. But Doubt will find a hill. Go ahead.
Yeah, Scout is turning around. Yeah, so makes total sense. Okay, Dogao is walling this up, so kind of indicating either to try to set up a team wall and go plumed archers, or maybe wall himself and go for a sling, which could be an option to either Riot or, I believe, even better, Mr. Miguel here. Magyars could go on to some sweet nights.
Yeah, this is an interesting game shaping up in front of us. We have surpassed the restart mark, so we are going to see this one played out, and that makes sense because why would the Tyrant guys spend a restart here? Riot powering down an elephant right now on 18 villagers, just establishing his mill. He did get that house up in the corner after some harassment from Doubt. Doubt sending more villagers over to wood. The Indians player looks to be, so far, going for a relatively quick feudal age. The Viper, I would assume, is doing the same, but he's had 4 vills on wood for a moment, and the Viper is walling in one flank at least. So I would expect, potentially, some scouts from both flanks on the Tyrant team, but you never know. Never know what to expect, I suppose.
Yeah, it is a very likely scenario, although if maybe Tato is going something feudal age-ish out of the pocket position, which doesn't look like it yet, they'd go for triple cavalry, which isn't the greatest setup.
Tato's got a fairly nice map to defend. He can wall in some corners. He does have a nice back gold pile. He's got a couple of wood lines that shouldn't be harassed too early in the game. So he might be in good shape to go up a little later. We do see feudal coming for Miguel and for Doubt. Both of those players clicking up on 20 villagers. The Viper will be up on 21, as will Riot. So we will see feudal aggression. I believe that's from all of the flank players. And the 2 pockets will wait just another couple of moments.
Oh, God. I see something very bad happening, Killer B. Go into the point of view of Dogao and try to see what he sees of his walls.
Okay.
He thinks he is walling the front completely, but he still has a hole in the middle there. If you check Fog of War on and off.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah, this could be pretty deadly for them. They are going for the team wall indeed. They are getting Dogao onto plumed archers. But if 6 scouts are coming in there, bye-bye good archers, plumed archers.
Nice eyes, Nili. That's very wise of you to find that out. We do see a couple villagers going over to stone already for Dogao. He hasn't clicked up yet, so it could be a fast castle into a castle drop. He's still walling around the map, and Dogao is going to get a little bit lucky, maybe a little bit wise. He sent his eagle to search for holes, and he did find that hidden spot.
Okay. All good then. But still... not too well walled towards Riot, I have to say. He kind of needs to wall in that area, so they are going for a semi-team wall, something that doesn't really work out. Tato is going for the FC, and the 2 flanks of the Tyrants we predicted to go for scouts, but Doubt actually going for archers.
Yeah, Doubt going straight for an archery range. I was surprised by that too. His opponent Riot, as you said, going double ranges as we speak. The red player, Miguel, will drop a stable, and so will the Viper. Viper seems to be fully palisaded in on his side, so he should be free to roam out even with his first spear, and that's going to make it a little hard for Miguel to win that fight. But Miguel is walling up and building structure, and he may be safe before the Viper gets to him.
I will see it's still quite some, parts to go, and we will see. I believe Riot really needs to wall in between himself and Dogao there. Dogao doesn't have any villagers left, and let's see if the team play is good enough there, or if he will do the unfortunate walls in the back. We will see, but it feels like the team wall overall could have good chances.
Yeah, another team wall from the Brazilian team. This time it's at a lot more ambitious wall because it's a more open map, but they're going to get at least most of it done before the feudal armies get out. The Viper's first couple scouts are still searching for their moment. There is a spear forward from the Viper trying to get in some free pokes already, but I don't think he has gotten in too many, maybe one. Yeah, and Doubt has walled himself in, is going double ranges, and the army counts for Doubt and Riet right now are really low, 4 and 5, but both guys going archers as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and in general, the team wall is a bit better than the triple I wall myself, but it's absolutely important that every of the Tyrant players now is completely walled. And then the question is still, what will they go for? Because it feels triple cavalry, I said it before, wasn't an option, but yeah, now I remember Doubt is actually going for crossbowmen, so it kind of makes sense. And most likely, we will see some doubles and triples over at the right-hand side, where Riot should be fighting against Doubt.
Yeah, Degao at the moment on 500 stone. He is going up to the castle age, so he'll have a castle drop if he wants it right away, and some plumes. The Viper almost got in on Riet's side, but Riet did finish the walls in time. Tato got his scout in, but probably not in an advantageous spot to do damage, just getting a little information. But the writing, I would assume, for these players is on the wall. Oh, is the Viper going to get in? Viper could get into Riet's base. It looks like he will get out, yeah.
Couldn't really do a lot of damage there, and Rio just will camp. This area will re-wall afterwards and will be super safe. Everyone should now slowly transition into the castle age, something that we only see out of the pocket positions, but the 4 flank players will follow just shortly.
Yeah, Tato has a couple of scouts near his base from Miguel, but he's just fine because he's got 2 spears out now, and Miguel would have to run under the TC. Tato's Castle Age is coming. He's stockpiling quite a lot of wood, so I expect a couple of TCs here early on. He's got 1 stable, so it's not going to be an aggressive double stable early castle push. Looks like he will keep 1 stable going, I would assume, but it is the TCs that Tato is going to be dropping.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. The enemies can't do really a lot of damage. Your teammates are super fine, and you are somewhat fine from receiving damage as well. So an eco-heavy approach is the way to go here for Tato. And I actually want to see the same from Dogao. I want to see him add 1 or 2 TCs before building that castle, but he focuses on the plumed archers. Probably doesn't know how defensive this game is going so far.
Yeah, Miguel for now, 500 food, 100 gold. The Viper is clicking up to Castle Age. Doubt is about in the same boat as Miguel. Doubt will be defending a bit of an awkward hill as Riet tries to get in some damage. Miguel did have some scouts over here. I thought they would 2v1, but ultimately there's just a little bit of flirtation going on between Doubt and Riet. No real fight there.
Yeah, it is kind of tough. And in general, look at that 17-minute game, Arabia, out of the standard maps, most aggressive map of them all. And so far, we have 3 kills on the side of the Brazilians. Only 1 single kill by Tato for the whole Tyrant team.
Yeah, it's one of those games of walling up and trying to gain an inch on your opponent, and so far I don't know if either team has a noticeable advantage, but I am noticing 3 TCs for Degao. He's got his castle up. The first plume is out. No upgrades on those yet. The pocket player on the other side, Tato, is mixing camels and knights. At least 1 camel, I suppose, to push away those scouts from the red player, Miguel. But maybe we'll see more knights from Tato as the Castle Age rolls on.
He only has 3 villagers on gold. He will go for the full boom. He realizes what's up. People will be safe. The Viper is sitting behind very solid walls here. Is going 2 stables. Doubt has mass army as well. Tato will just go and boom onto his cavaliers. We'll try to get Farimba out as early as possible, and we'll have a huge damage output army.
Yeah, 3v3s are really interesting to me, Nili, because often one flank is being won while the other is being lost, or it's maybe an equal fight. If you had to predict between the Magyars and the Franks, the Viper versus Miguel, who do you give the advantage to on that flank with the civs and the players involved?
The problem is, in a 1-1 scenario, Magyars are surely better, but we are in a team game, right? The big problem will be that they will have kind of the same units. The Viper will go for Paladins if he thinks those are the best, and Tato should go for Cavaliers as well. So I believe the composition will be the big interesting thing. That could be the saving grace here for the Brazilians.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, and I think the Brazilians having two corners already protected, even though it's early and we're not going to be trading for a little while, but they already have two corners of the map protected, which always feels nice. Of course, the Viper can expand his economy to the north, but at least for now, Tyrant would have a little trouble establishing a safe trade eco later. But that's a long way from now. For now, it is Knights. Viper, as you said, going double stables. Double stables for the red player. Pretty mirrored builds and double ranges for both the other flank players, Doubt and Riot.
Yeah, and we will see. Doubt now needs to retreat a bit, is only now getting castle age, and this will be just crossbow against crossbow. Very mirror match here. Riot and Doubt still both not fighting. And yeah, we really have to start scratching our heads and decide what they should go for in late Imperial Age. It feels like Italians kind of needs to go for Genoese crossbowmen. Mongol Mayans pocket, probably Plumes, maybe Eagles. On the other side, Miguel, probably the Knights. What are you expecting out of the Tyrants on the other side?
Yeah, just quickly, there's a big fight between the Viper and Miguel. They both committed to a Knight battle there. Red player with +2 damage, because he's Magyars, and +1 defense. Viper with +2 defense, and they are just standing and fighting on that side. It looks like the Viper will win that fight eventually and push the red player back, but the Knight numbers are similar. You're talking about Imperial units for the Tyrant team, and I think the Genovese crossbowman is a really interesting player in this game for the Brazilians. If that unit comes out, it's going to change how much cavalry you might want to put on the map to try to raid there. But yeah, Viper going to Paladin seems like a wise choice. I don't know. Do we see Imperial Camel in this situation, Nili? Probably not, right?
That's a big problem. What else can he go for? If Riot is getting into Genoese crossbowman, which at the moment he is super protected, isn't getting raided anywhere, is pretty likely. What else should we see from Riot? This could get interesting. I believe Tado needs to somewhat tag into, I think, even champ cards or onagers. Champ cards, I believe, are a good option.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. It's an interesting setup. This game is going to be it's going to be a good one. I think those crossbows, those Genovese crossbows, could really change the makeup of the late game meta. If we start to see those coming out soon, that could really change a lot. But what we need to focus on now is that Doubt and Tado have broken in. They're not diving in fully, but the Viper is here as well. And they are at least in the middle of that Brazilian, in between those two economies.
And Doubt with close to 40 military, still not having the first kill, but this could be the first engagement here. Let's take a look. Tado with +2 defense, the Viper as well, so they should soak up quite some damage output. Let's see, Riot is retreating, and Togao is not really committing either.
Yeah, the Tyrants are in. I don't know if there's a place for them to poke at yet, but they are doing some damage while they can. It looks like Doubt is just now grabbing Leather Archer, keeping his eyes on beefing up that 40-unit military. Tado is spamming Knights across the map, I believe 2x2, but it may be more. I think it's just 2 at a time. 4th TC coming for Tado as we speak, and he's going over to Stone. So keep that in mind. But the Tyrant guys will, for now, they'll walk away from this potential bit of raiding.
Oh man, and yeah, no real engagement here. This could be a very long game, honestly. Corners, as you said, kind of secured. Brazilians have already 2. Tyrants are pretty safe to have 2 as well. And armies aren't really having the big advantage here to go for the big kills. Maybe if Miguel loses all his knights, but he's pulling back just in time. Needs the +2 desperately.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good point. We're just seeing the economies expanding, by the way. People who like to keep track of villagers will notice that Tado and Degao, both pocket players, are really close on vill count, and the flanks are pretty close. Riot, a couple villagers behind at this point compared to Doubt. But at least for now, the teams are kind of standing neck and neck on the vill count.
Yeah, Doubt using the Indian bonus there to full potential. Miguel finally getting the +2 defense as well. Obviously has the +2 attack, as you mentioned before, from the Maliant. And I believe Dogao and Riot, I think they shouldn't really chase from the outside. I think they should go over and try to defend Miguel, because it feels he seems to be the target now.
Yeah, all 3 of the Tyrant players are headed toward the red side of the map, and Riot will slowly walk across the map with his crossbows, +2, +1 on those. They'll get here maybe in time. They're walking the shortest path, I suppose, but Tyrant putting pressure on the front of Miguel's base. Miguel could stand to lose maybe some buildings here, as Monks for now are holding the line and buying him some time. but Tyrant playing very, very patiently with these large armies.
Absolutely, and that's some damage output. Tyrant on the way to him. We see Dogao somewhat around 40%, so Elite Plumed Archers will be what he will go in for. Has 2 casters out as we saw. Now everyone above pop 100 here. Not a lot of losses, and I believe for the first time ever, we could see the big armies clash against each other, but maybe Dogao wants to wait till he has Bracer as well.
Yeah, the Viper and Tato and Doubt here probably happy to grab a couple military buildings on the front. They're going to push up this hill, and this engagement's going to happen. 2 monks for the Viper will grab converts. Doubt's army getting into position. Plumes on top of the hill. Nili, who's going to win this one?
It feels like Miguel doesn't have enough army here to buffer this out. Still, Doubt fighting uphill is a big problem as well. It seems like Viper and Tato are losing quite a lot of numbers. This looks good for the Brazilians. The hill bonus was probably just enough for them.
Yeah, the Brazilians getting that fight, and as you said, it's probably the hill bonus that was huge there. Tato will be a little bit sad about losing his army of knights because he is on the way to Imp. He's grabbing more upgrades now, just now grabbing Forging even. So he's going to lose those units before they're fully teched up.
That was very hurtful for them. And Rio just massive damage output to Gao as well. All 6 players were throwing everything at them. But 3 Tyrants on the way to him. And as we can see, Miguel and Ryut not up. So maybe if we can see 3 minutes of dancing around, the tech advantage could be on the side of the Tyrants again. But that's obviously something the Brazilians don't want to give them.
Yeah, this is the key to many games in Age of Empires that you see. It's going to be a matter of can you buy enough time. Imperial Age coming for Tato. He's going back. He's booming out quite a lot of knights, and they will soon have plate barding armor and be cavalier. And at that point, if he has enough, he can push back the elite plumes or at least slow them down. But those elite plumes are coming hot and heavy. The red player has a couple knights headed back home. And I think Brazil is a little reluctant to dive in. I thought all 3 of those armies would kind of come forward and try to do some counter damage, but it's just the plumes right now.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. Obviously, Miguel didn't have a lot of stuff left, and Ryut is running over there as well, but obviously so much slower than the Plumed Archers. For an Archer unit, they are damn fast by foot.
Yeah, this is a really dangerous moment in the game. I think Degao here he's trying to get in some damage. He's shutting down Tato's eco, but there's going to be knights on all sides of him soon, and they will be cavalier. And we'll see that last upgrade as well for defense. So these plumes could get caught in a little bit of a pickle, but for now, they're running around and doing some raiding.
And getting caught off in a pickle. Look at Ryut's crossbowman here trying to take wrap around in the woodline here. But Tato is trying to squeeze in. This is actually a reasonable positioning here by Ryut. And we see Dogao coming over. I'm not 100% sure if Tato can stay here.
Yeah, Tato trying to fight both of those armies of ranged units. Imperial Age is in for Doubt. Tato will go back for now, but he's at least keeping these 2 armies from, totally dicing up his economy. Tato hanging on the hill, those Cavalier with quite a few upgrades, should last quite a while. Viper on the way over, he's going to have Cavalier soon as well. And it's kind of Doubt who's getting a little bit of time to maybe boom up, build up some castles, and drop a bunch of archery ranges on his side.
Yeah, he's going for skirms. He's going for, well, not Arbalest, because Indians don't even have Arbalest. Now that's a good fight here against Ryut. As we can see, Dogao is now running. Tato is trying to go for the wrap around, is doing quite a reasonable job. The Viper in there as well, and they will get some solid damage done. Will catch a lot of those plungers off guard. Beautiful engagement here by the Tyrants.
Yeah, absolutely. Those couple of skirms and couple of archers coming over make that pinning yourself into the wood line not such a great move anymore. And the plumes are fully on the run. There's Cavalier chasing them on all sides, well, at least the Viper chasing them from behind. And now the Tyrant team will take that tech advantage that they had with their slightly earlier imp times to maybe push back. And it looks like Tato's army is headed toward either... it looks like he's headed toward Ryut's flank right now.
Yeah, and a lot of people criticizing Rio to having maybe overextended there, but I feel he was doing still quite a lot of damage. Did keep the enemies back because he doesn't really want to go on to Arbalest anyways. He wants to switch into January's crossbowman. And as you can see, Tato has one mission, and that mission is to prevent Rio from getting to exactly that. Let's see if he will achieve.
Yeah, Rhea grabbing conscription. Right now it is 99 villagers for the teal player in the Imperial Age. He's going to soon be trying to hold back 2 versus 1. Those elite skirms will come forward and grab a few more plumes, so Doubt's base will be safe. And the Viper, seeming to have a huge army of Cavalier, looks to be ready to ball that mass up and maybe make an attack on the other side.
And no camels for the Brazilians, so they only have Chinese crossmen as a counter against that mass amount of paladins and soon to be mass amount of cavaliers with Farimba. Oh, they already have Farimba. So, yeah, there are some counters for the Brazilians, but pretty immobile ones.
Yeah, stonewalling coming in now from Riot, having to desperately stonewall up his side as best he can. Trade has already started for the Tyrant team, and trade has started as well for the Brazilian side. Purple player still going elite plumes, seems to be a full-on build for him. And we did see a lot of cavalry from red, but that cavalry is switching sides. He's going to move away from the Viper, and he's going to head over to try to deal with Doubt and Tado's soon-to-be bludgeoning attack on Riot.
Yeah, but look at the upgrades. He still doesn't even have Cavaliers. Yeah, it will finish soon, but if we look at the Viper, he already has completely upgraded Frank's Paladins. We need to see mass amount of elite Genoese crossmen. The upgrade of the elite is coming in, but this will be a tough engagement here for the Brazilians. I believe it would be nice for them if they can buy themselves some more time.
Yeah, again, it's a game of time, and the Brazilians have to buy some time, as you said. The castle for Riot is under pressure. He's got 3 castles, but of course that one is kind of key to keeping the front of his economy safe. Could lose a couple of production buildings as well before his teammate Miguel is ready to engage. Miguel's got Cavalier, he's got the upgrades now. He's going Paladin, though, so I think they'll probably wait for that before the engagement.
But waiting in the middle and trying to protect Rio did cost them some awareness in the middle. Didn't finish those walls, and now Paladins of the Viper are coming in. And this should get pretty tricky for Togao because he doesn't have Halberdier stacked. And just, oh, he does have Halberdier stacked. Okay, then he has a chance to clear this up. But small numbers of plumed archers won't really do it.
Yeah, the Viper breaking through on one side, as you said, with that early tech into Paladin. The castle is down for Riot. The engagement for Riot and Miguel is still waiting. They're still waiting for the right moment to take that engage. And in the meantime, the Viper's Paladins should be running roughshod over all of these villagers inside of the red economy and even inside of purple as well. We see quite a lot of idols there. 35 for red, 20 for the purple player Degao.
And he's getting so many kills, it's ridiculous. All over red, as I said, all over purple. Maybe we can still see no engagement over there in the middle. It's just so weird. So many kills. He's even trying to raid the trade now. This is just a brutal raid here by the Viper.
Yeah, the Paladin upgrade is in for Miguel, and he's going to push in, but here's Imperial Camel from Doubt. He was hiding those units until just now, at least for me, and huge engagement on the right side has to go well for Brazil.
Imperial Camel's not really engaging too well. Doesn't even have a lot of damage upgrades even. Look at that, only 14 coming out now, so not killing the Paladins too well. Chinese crossmen doing quite a nice job. I believe this will be heavy losses on both sides, and now we can see Tedo even taking into champ cards, and that should be deadly on the right hand side for sure. And we're adding barracks. I believe Tedo should be stream rolling the right hand side quite nicely.
Yeah, the Imperial Camel coming from Doubt en masse. We will see Champion Spam headed this direction. We've got Onager upgrade already in for Tado, and he needs to get those Onagers a little closer. He can push these plumes away and get a heroic shot, maybe. But Tyrant taking a very well-deserved 1,000 point score lead at this point in the game. And the Brazilians, as Zach would say, are on the back foot.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Trying to hold on in the middle, doing quite well there, but as I said, I believe those champ cards, look at that, 7 defense there. It's just no chance for them to really get killed unless Paladins are coming over. But Miguel, pop 110. I don't really see him sending 30 Paladins over to the other side.
Yeah, and the Onager shots are raining in. It's a really tricky problem for Riot and his teammate Degao. They both have archers, and there's quite a good number of Onagers rolling in. Castle will soon be up for Doubt to solidify the gold pile on this left side. And the blue player has gone to light cav raiding, so we do have a lot of raiding coming in now from Tado. You can see just blue dots all over the map. As soon as the Viper's Paladins have been killed, Tado breaks through on the other side, and he's back to raiding once again.
Ay, 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 ay. What did he do? He did cut through the wood line there with Onita's beautiful move. Completely missed that. And yeah, he is raiding quite nicely. And they're pushing through the middle. Ay, ay, ay. It's just so tough for the Gao to control all that. He needs to watch his plumed archers every single time. Otherwise, Onita shots could come and fly in.
Yeah, the Trebs are unpacking again. Riot has another castle under fire, and his Genovese crossbows are going back to maybe regroup and defend this eco a little bit. Tato still happily poking away at a couple of markets and a couple of trade carts with those light cap, but they'll get cleaned up relatively soon. The big fight in the middle seems to be Doubt's skirmishers looking to do damage. That castle from Riot may be going down, but Paladin running in to snipe those Trebs.
Yeah, I think the castle will live. Paladins actually did great there, sniping down the traps, killing a lot of skirmishers, did distract the army quite nicely, but at the same time, as we said, he didn't have the population to send Paladins over and hold his own front. He's now 60 pop behind against the Viper, who is already charging up for the next big raid, I assume.
Yeah, the Viper will castle drop the other flank, the left flank, where the red player, Miguel, is trying to defend. That will take away Miguel's TC and win a little bit of gold for the Viper to mine. Paladin's still coming out, as you said, for him, and they are starting to congregate in the middle of the map. More stables coming from the Viper, but he is adding ballistics as well, maybe for defensive castle shots. But there's a lot of green and blue on the right side of the map, and that is the big problem for Brazil right now. The castle's going to go down, and these armies are going to continue to push forward.
Castle indeed is going down. Only 2 more castles left for a guy who's absolutely relying only on those castles. The Gao now trying to get some quick walls done, but even then, he is still super open. He is losing so much army, the mass amount of traps out. They are also getting pushed on the right-hand side over and over again. Tedo using his onagers just to perfection.
Yeah, Gao's still with a large number of elite plumes, but he's kind of having to spread himself around the map. He has some halbs out as well, but of course the champions here with the +7 defense are going to be really useful for pushing it against those two groups. The teal player has his Genovese crossbows coming across the map to help deal with the Viper. It does seem like the Viper had some Paladins cleaned up there. But the Trebs are unpacked for the Viper. He will at least hold his side, and I think that Tato is probably going to be able to win the other flank along with his teammate Doubt.
Oh, and it's a problem that I only see now that we didn't mention at all before. Look at the trade amount of Miguel. 6 trade cards by going mass amount of Paladins. That's not really a thing I ever heard of.
Yeah, Miguel with 200 gold in the bank, and the income, of course, is going to slowly, or rather quickly, trickle down as the gold piles start to run out. He did lose gold in the center of the map to the Viper, and of course, it is starting to run out now, so he needs to get more trade out, but that could be a lag in Paladin production. It's 31 military for him, it's 32 for the Viper, so they're still standing neck and neck on production. But yeah, that could be a serious problem very soon.
Yeah, Genovese crossbowman over there quite nicely, but look at that. Tato is now building siege workshops as well, so the defensive Genovese crossbowman needs to be aware over there. The Viper even sees and pulls those villagers away on the left-hand side, but the most important thing is really the right-hand side. Tato is now going for the markets. Still trying to kill trade cards though, but he is just, I don't really see him getting killed there.
Yeah, Tato has much more than a foothold as his army starts to stream in on the side. We will see some plumes coming over, but we've got heavy camel from Tato. We've got those massively beefed up champions rolling in. It's going to be very hard to stop this, especially once the siege onagers arrive. There will be 3 of those on the way already. So it seems that Tato is going to win this corner, or at least contest this corner, but here comes Miguel with a huge group of Paladin.
Oh yeah, that will clear up. And I absolutely love the team play this far by the Brazilians. They took great fights in their 3-1. Are helping out left-hand side, are helping out the right-hand side. Togao is everywhere, but nowhere somewhat, because he doesn't really have the highest numbers. But by saying that, he has 70 military. Where is he having those?
I'm not quite sure, but the purple player does have a group of plumes, maybe, that can get in and raid. They have made it around the walls for now. The Viper is fortified, walling up the entire Tyrant's trade. Viper is coming over, but he's a bit late because those Paladins from Miguel did clean up Tato's aggression. So Tato killed a few markets and interrupted the trade, but it looks like Brazil will hold on and fight a bit longer.
And talking about interrupting the trade, look at the south now at Doubt's and Tado's markets. A group of plumed archers could maybe do something, but it feels like Tado saw that, is building an SO, is building some cavaliers. So that maybe surprise game changer won't happen either.
Yeah, the Plumes had to walk a long way to get around these walls. The Viper wasn't able to finish, but at least the Tyrant team saw that coming for quite some time. Couple Cavalier coming over from blue to clean that up, and those blue champions are back inside of the trade on the Brazilian side. If you're Brazil, do you delete those markets and reestablish your trade lines here, Nili, or?
Well, at the moment, they don't really have the killing units against the CA. Champions aren't that great, but speaking of killing units against the trade, now Doubt realized exactly that, is building the CA, and I feel this could even be the GG rate here, because now there's no chance of ever getting back onto reasonable numbers. They are deleting the market exactly as you somewhat suggested, trying to rebuild it, but a shortened trade line, not the greatest setup for a comeback.
Yeah, total trade now is about plus 40, I would say, for the Tyrant side, which is a very nice number for them to be looking at. We do have another attempt at trade rating from the Brazilian team. It is Miguel.
Oh, let's take a quick look at the right-hand side. Paladins coming in. Tado might go for some quick wall gates here. 2 gates up. Let's take a look. 3 gates up. Tado is the master of quick walls. And we'll get all gates up. And that's just beautiful. GG.
Yeah, those Paladin were kind of a last-ditch effort, I think, to try to get in and do some damage, and they're going to have a whole lot of trouble because the gates are already up, as you said. Tyrant should be able to send an army over, and that army is going to be Imperial Camels, which they match up pretty well versus Paladin. So Doubt should be able to send over a good group and clean this up.
Wow, but cleaning up is also Miguel at the right-hand side here. Obviously, those champions and heavy CA, kind of the units to counter what was out there, but not the best damage dealers. Tado now going on to a bit of the other composition again. I think I would love to see maybe some Paladins on the right-hand side. Not really. It is kind of tough, but I believe the push in the middle still looks pretty solid for Doubt.
It's interesting to look at the villager count of Riyadh. He's got 20 villagers right now. 20 vills and 40 trade carts. Of course, he needs some pop space later in the game, but that seems like an incredibly low number.
Yeah, that's not really for pop space. That is because you got raided over and over again. 59 minutes of pure action. Did start a bit slower though. And yeah, G to the G. Tyrant's performing pretty well. Who was your MVP in this game?
You know, Doubt and Tado made a really nice team game push on the right, but the Viper, I didn't watch him as much, but he did seem to hold his own just fine on the left, even at some moments with a little bit of 2v1 action. So he's kind of my unsung hero, but I feel like it was Tado who had the glory. I think Tado gets my MVP this time. How about you, Nili?
It is kind of tough. That's why I put you on the spot. It was kind of weird. I didn't really get why Viper got onto Paladins so much faster than Miguel, because they both went for a lot of Knights. And Magyar Eco should be somewhat slower than Frank's, but not that slow, I feel. Miguel was also lacking the +2 defense for quite some time. Not 100% sure what happened there, because they both didn't build a lot of scouts there. And it feels like that could have been the game changer, that the Viper had just such a better transition into late Imperial Age than Miguel here. So if we have to point something out, it's probably at that side.
Yeah, it's a good point. And at the end of it, even after stonewalling and a very defensive start, this game did not quite get to 1 hour of game time, which surprises me a little bit. But Tyrant grabbing yet another win. They'll go up 2-0, and they'll look for the elimination game here in game number 3.
Indeed, and still, obviously, all players using quite strong civilizations here. Let's take a look through the stats and look at that KD from the Viper. He just slaughtered those villagers in mid-Imperial Age.
Yeah, the Viper's Paladin were, as you said, upgraded very early, and he was just basically unstoppable for quite a while there, grabbing a lot of villagers down, and a lot of trade carts in the wake of the Viper and his team in that game too. Lots of good rating.
Absolutely love that. A lot of sling in the end from Dogao to Miguel, so that they get a lot of Paladins out. Obviously, Mayans in the late Imperial Age aren't really doing that much anymore. If we have mass Paladins, mass Champ cards out, SO out, it's getting really tricky for Mayans to still go up for a strong army Next map will be Steppe, or how the Germans would call it, Steppe.
Yeah, and it will be a good, interesting third game. Hopefully we can see the Brazilian side grab a win here so that they can extend this group stage match. If not, they'll lose the point, I suppose. And they'll go into that murderers losers bracket that you alluded to earlier. It's really not a good situation at all.
It feels like every bracket is murderous at the moment. Yeah, it is kind of tricky. And on Steppe, what are the good civilizations? Obviously, Mongols are pretty good. I personally love Portuguese on that map. And probably Chinese are the strongest, starting with roughly 2 to 3 more villages there. So, yeah, those are kind of the same safe picks. What else could we expect?
I just accidentally closed. Damn. Just closed the spectator overlay, or the Civ draft overlay.
I can send it to you again on Skype. You have it on Skype.
Thanks. Yeah, I do expect that the Mongols will be involved in this one, but let's check out this message from Nili.
And maybe this could be one to pick Goth, because not having walls is not too bad in this one.
Yeah, maybe so. Obviously, I think if you're on the Brazilian side, you kind of want to go for broke. You got to get all of the best civs you can into the game. Not worry so much about the bonuses and trying to synergize, but just get a win. We've seen Mayans already used there. We've seen Aztecs already used. I don't know if they're planning to go Meso again, but Incas are left on their side. We've seen them use Magyars. Maybe Huns, Mongols in this game could be an option as well.
Yeah, I think so. Berbers are pretty strong as well. And yeah, we will see. I'm pretty curious for sure. And I think we will play some music in between, and then we will jump into game number 3. I got asked why Portuguese are so good. I believe that this game is so scrappy at the start, and it's really nice to have a lot of vision, and starting with free cartography is really useful on this map. At least my thoughts.
Yeah, it's a good point, and I'll also go on pause here for a moment, and yeah, I'll be ready for the next game in a few minutes. All right, so I've muted Mr. Nili. At least you guys can't hear him anymore, and he shouldn't be able to hear me, so life is good. Game number 3 on the way. As you can see from the scoreboard, the Tyrant team is doing quite nicely. Maybe you want to see the civs and not have me block them. It's a very good point, Robo. I didn't get a chance to get it in edgewise with Nili, but the Vipers Paladin are faster than Miguel. Yes, this is a good point. Somewhere in Canada, Slam is smiling, says Europe. Project Belgium is here. He wants a exclamation point Robo emote. I think that's fair. We should make one of those. Ash is saying my PC is on fire. It kind of is. I know you're talking about that transition that we have. But we, if you're interested at home, if you're keeping updated with the battery situation, we're on 13% now. So it is ticking away downward. So I'll have to check in on the wattage on that. And I should take a moment to say thank you to Mr. Sinkin. Let me move this Battle of Africa banner and let me replay Sinkin sub. Thanks for subbing during that game. My apologies for not recognizing you before. What do you think, Sinkin? You've been a sub here for now 9 months. What do you think about this, about the new stuff we got going? Do you like the sub emote or the sub video, or do you hate it? Need some feedback? I usually have a little bit of motion going in the background, but today, of course, we've got a couple of variables to work with, as always. I feel like that's very common on this stream. Let me just change this and get ready for the next one. Let's take the screen capture off as well. Let's see, Killer Bee, I think your PC's on fire. Battery situation, says Buttface. Yeah, I suppose I need a new charger. I suppose if Ash is telling me that, if you guys are telling me that, then I believe it. I usually start off with 100% battery, so the fact that I lose 30% over 3 hours doesn't really bother me. But of course, today we started with 30%. So we're touch and go throughout the stream here. If Tyrant closes it out in this game, we'll probably survive on battery. If they don't, we may not. But if we crash, you know, I'll host Nili, and life will be good. 50 seconds left on the spec delay. I'll unmute Nili and say that I'm about ready. Nili, you ready for this? Oh, he's not there. But this game will be rocking and rolling in another 40 seconds. Sub video didn't play, says Sinkin. Let's try it again. Need the 85 watts. Okay, I'll check in on that. I hope it's playing. It's playing on my OBS. Doesn't your notebook shut off when it's around 13%? Well, I hope not. But that's a possibility. That is a possibility. Jump into the next game right now. All right.
I'm back.
Okay, perfect. We just started up. Game number 3, the Battle of Africa. It is the group stage, Tyrant versus the Brazilian team, Tyrant up 2-0. And we are going to have another 3v3. It will be, once again, the Viper, Tato, and Doubt. So no Jordan sighting thus far for these guys. Chinese, Berbers, and Spanish, taking on Degao, Riet, and Miguel. Ethiopians, Monks, and Huns.
Ay. My stream just dropped.
Ah, mine as well.
Yours as well?
Yep. It went to 0
That's weird.
KB for a second there.
That's interesting. That's weird that both of our streams dropped at the same time. Okay, we're all back, guys. Nothing happened. It's a Twitch problem. Seems like it. The weird thing was that actually Skype was lagging quite a bit as well at the same time. So kind of surprising to me.
Well, hopefully it comes back for people. Everything is stabilized for me. Frames aren't, well, I hope not dropping. Looks like we have good speeds. But are you back up and running, Nili?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, wonderful. Well, let's cast this game and hope that at least one of our channels, both of our channels, are back up. We've got, what do you think about these matchups? Chinese, Spanish, and Berbers. Berbers being picked, kind of the golden nugget sieve, in my opinion, on this map. Versus the Mongols, Ethiopians, and Huns. How do you like the matchups, and how do you think this is going to play out?
Yeah, I think Chinese, obviously the strongest civilization here. You start with more villagers, should be a pretty sweet start. Tato, maybe with Spanish. Well, you have Golden Throne always close to your TC, so Conquistadors is quite a good option if you transition into that, into Castle Age, losing his horse even there. And yeah, so I can see that. Berbers, obviously nice, going for scouts and later knights. So I like the pick of the Tyrants.
Yeah, the Tyrant team will have the ability to push out and maybe control some map early, especially those Spanish towers could be annoying. I'm interested to see what the Viper goes with as this game rolls on. But of course, the start to this map is players running to the middle, building up mills, and trying to get that free food, those free zebra in the center of the map. Obviously, you can throw away your horse pretty easily because of the low line of sight, but it's a very useful tool to scout around. Yeah, for now, the purple player is a little bit close to Doubt's base, but I do not think he's going to lose his horse on that side.
Yeah, even so, it's not like super important. As we said, won't really fight. It is nice to scout, but the enemy also sees it. And look at who's up pretty early. Mr. Tato here, playing the Spanish. Normally not a real eco advantage, but he is looking to go for a tower rush here.
Very interesting. Yeah. Why not? Some people ask why, others why not. And if anybody's going to pull off lots of damage with towers, it could be Tato here. He and his teammate, or he and his opponent Riet, are neck and neck. They're almost touching each other. The villagers working very close to one another. The mills right beside each other. And yeah, I'm just still trying to get my feet on the ground. Doubt is onto gold as we speak. Go ahead.
And Riot is scouting the tower rush. He didn't scout it for quite some... Oh no, I think he doesn't. I think he doesn't scout it. I'm not 100% sure. Did he see the stone? He didn't see the stone, and he didn't see the villagers. He saw them somewhat, but not really. I believe he has no idea the tower rush is coming. Everyone going up to Feudal Age quite early, though. Dogao will follow Tato, who is now first trashing the zebras here.
Yeah, Tato is going to drop his first tower, as you said, on the Zebra. He's going to have 5 Vills powering that up. He has not scouted the back quadrant of Riot's base, but for now he'll just be trying to take away that food in the center of the map. The first tower is up. The second tower will be up soon. Teal player has just a few moments to react, but he's still in the feudal age.
And that means he will only have 2 villagers working on those farms. Obviously, you don't have berries on that map, so could be quite interesting how they're playing it out. And to my surprise, Dogao is not going for scouts, but we see him play with archers as well. Miguel probably will go for scouts though then.
Yeah, right now those towers are creeping in. Riot is still creeping his way up to the feudal age. Miguel will be up in a moment as well, and so will Doubt. Barracks are down for Doubt and others. Doubt's on gold, as we said earlier on, and his feudal age will come in 3, 2, 1. And I'm interested to see what he drops on this side. It will be for Doubt. Drum roll, please.
Well, he has 4 villagers on gold, so should be archer ranges, and indeed he's building those. Lots of villagers on wood as well. Not a lot of villagers on food though. Only 4 there in the back with the zebras trying to work for him. And now defensive tower by Riot. He shouldn't take that much damage. Not sure what Tato can really do now.
Yeah, Tato's moving north on the map toward the red player. He's going to be joined by the Viper scout, and he's got 5 villagers ready to put some more towers down. But like you said, how much damage can he do? Because it is a little bit difficult for him to push in, especially against the teal player. Doubt on his side, as we expected, going for double ranges, does have a defensive tower down at home, and the purple player on double ranges as well.
Oh, let's take a good look in the center here. Tato will try to get his tower up, but Miguel is having nothing of it, sending his scouts in. The Viper sending his scouts as well, but that seems like Tato should lose everything here. Viper not supporting well enough, but the tower could maybe go up 80% here. Oh, and he survives.
Yeah, a bit surprising, but at the last moment, the red player will pull back, the tower will go up, and Tato will save 4 villagers there. I thought he stood to lose a lot more than just 1. He's going to drop a barracks down and try to keep up the aggression.
Spanish towers are just so ridiculous. I thought he would surely get denied there. I was super surprised Miguel maybe didn't focus correctly, didn't get really the kills in there as well. And Tato's aggression will continue at the moment. Togao doing quite a bit of damage against the Viper though, who's now running with his villagers towards the TC of Tato. Nice team play.
Yeah, absolutely. The Viper got, or rather, Dogao got some archers in behind the Viper's vills, and the Viper couldn't run home anymore, so now he's running to Tato. And we will... oh, sorry, just dropped out of the game for a moment. Go ahead, Nili.
And yeah, I believe the big problem is still Tato. He is going for the full tower rush, but what did he really do? He killed 1 villager of Miguel, only traded off there, and didn't really interrupt Rio too much. I think Tato will be in some problems, or if he towers up at home, his teammates will be in some problems, because Rio at the moment completely untouched.
Yeah, this game is heating up. We do see Tato still with villagers forward, still trying to roam around and get some towers down and annoy his opponent. He's taken away a lot of the ability of his opponents to take those zebra in the middle. I do see some purple archers roaming here and there, and Dogao is trying to find a way through the back of Doubt's woodline. But for now, he's unable to hit Doubt from behind.
Surprisingly, Doubt is walling that up. There are so many memes around him not really finishing those walls properly. On his other streams, was so happy when quick walled, but had walls. Let's take a look. Dogao, is he moving in there? Going into the TC, Doubt punishing quite heavily. Good wins for Doubt. And at the moment, not a lot of killing going on really. A lot of skirmishes, but oh, look at the woodline of Tato. Small problems.
Oh yeah, Tato's woodline. He's got Riot's archers camped out under his tower, trying to defend that woodline with towers, and that's good for the Brazilian team. It will take a little bit of steam out of Tato's forward tower push. He's going to have to build maybe another tower back at home to defend. It's too military right now for the blue player, so he's not going to respond to this with military. He's just going to have to let those archers be for a little while. Viper's grabbing wheelbarrow. It doesn't seem like he's been too bothered yet, but as I say that, the Huns player, Miguel, is sending some scouts toward the Viper's base.
Yeah, but feels like he is kind of safe. Look at that, 2 towers up, trying to go for some more walls. And yeah, if he fights there are so many arrows in the air.
Yeah, the red player will go back. Arrows raining in on all sides, so he's not going to be able to get done too much damage, or any damage, really. Tato's still got 3 vills that I can see on the front. He's just happily taking those zebra in the shadow of all of those towers that he's built. Doubt with a good number of archers as well. He's actually got the biggest army in the game at the moment. +1 damage in, and he is pushing back the purple player Miguel, or rather Degao. Degao split up his armies and is trying to raid in several different spots with 5 archers or so, and that's going to give Doubt a really nice advantage because his group is balled up.
Yeah, he has a nice flock there. Miguel cannot really fight this Degao neither. Even together, I'm not 100% sure. Doubt now trying to go in for some spearmen. We could see a big engagement right-hand side. Miguel is losing scouts before that. And at the same time, still big problems for Tato. He's trying to tower himself up, trying to get back to his wood. But beautiful raids here by our Ethiopian player from Brazil.
Yeah, the raiding is going well on that side, and Tato, who went forward with towers, is having to now go back home and tower up just to push these archers away. Very annoyed, I'm sure. Doubt's making some headway on the other side, but the Brazilians are doing a nice job to make him slowly walk toward that economy, and I don't know if there's a ton of areas for him to do damage right now.
Well, we'll see. Even like the indirect damage he's doing. At the moment, he's forcing Miguel and Degao there. At the same time, Viper's not really needed. And we saw Viper going for towers, going for wheelbarrow. He is looking into Castle Age only because Doubt was putting on so much pressure into the faces of the Brazils here.
Yeah, Doubt's pressure is coming in. Looks like Miguel is going to stand and fight for a moment. There's 1 spear in the mix here for Doubt, so he will get in some good damage, but Bloodlines and +1 defense is in for red, so Doubt is going to be going back and trying to micro down some damage while he can. It does, as you said, come with consequences because the Viper hasn't had to do anything other than boom up, and he'll be Castle Age first. Bloodline's coming for him in a stable down in the middle of the map.
And oh god, now I'm really shocked that Tato doesn't know how to properly sling as well. And well, he is slinging the Viper, so we will probably see 3 stables out of him and some aggression. He already has the market up, so we'll know where to go. And if we see mass amount of knights over at the right hand side together with Doubt, that should be some nice pressure points.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, Castle Age has been clicked for Riot and Miguel. Viper will be there in just a second, and I'm curious if the Viper has more stables coming. He does have a second stable on the way, so the Viper will be able to pump out some units here early on, some knights, I suppose, but he does have plenty of gold, or food and gold, ready to do so. So the Viper's in good shape. Tato has been raided, and Doubt is going back a bit, but he's bought his teammates a lot of time. Who do you think's ahead in this game right now, Nili?
It feels like at the moment, if they can do enough damage, it's Doubt and Viper, but Doubt is late to Castle Age as well, and maybe if Doubt is overextending here, he could lose all his archers before he can upgrade those. He's now even going back. It feels like Brazils are ahead here.
You know what's interesting? Riot has a really...
Stream drop again.
Oh, okay.
You can continue on yours.
Riot has a really large army of archers here. He's probably got 15 archers hanging out behind the Viper's eco, which is really strange. He's waiting for the right moment to strike, I suppose, or maybe just hiding those units until he can get them upgraded. But for now, it's a lot of idle military units. The Viper sending knights 2 by 2 in that direction.
And yeah, he is going for the 3rd stable indeed, goes for +2 defense, should maybe clear up Rio's army here in the very back. It's just a question, can Doubt keep his army alive? He's going for 3 archer ranges as well. A lot of eyes on that right hand side. Let's see how much damage Degao can do.
Yeah, Degao for now, as you said, is he's up. He's got +1 defense coming, or already in, +2 on the way. The Viper is looking around for those archers from the Ethiopians player Riot, and he's found them.
Sorry, just quickly look at the middle. What Tato is doing to Miguel with his stables. Trying to go for one in the stables with gates there. Ay.
It's very artful the way that he did that. It's very beautiful.
Yeah. That's so true. Only need like 3-4 more gates and could have maybe walled those other stables off as well, but didn't happen in the end. And now Tato, well, might even lose those villagers as well. Riot still with the lowest numbers there, but can continue to raid some. And talking of raiding some, Gao still pretty active here against Doubt.
Yeah, Tado's towers are under pressure. The Viper did find the army of Riot, and then he kind of decided, well, they're going to just push into a pinch point. So he sent his knights over to Tado's base, and he's going to get a good engagement there. He's going to clean up Riot finally, once and for all. Tado will need this reprieve. Castle Age is in for 2 of the Tyrant players, but all 3 of the Brazilians. And Tado, I'm not exactly sure how close he is. He hasn't clicked up yet.
He is slinging to the Viper.
Touche.
So that's why the Viper can go onto that many knights. But yeah, as I said, if you're getting slung, you need to do damage pretty soon. And not really happening at the moment. For now, they're just focusing on defending. And where should they really attack? Should they go for the Gao side? I think that should be the best one because Doubt doesn't need to walk too far.
Yeah, and let me just say while we have a brief moment, if I drop here, guys, go visit Nili while I get this thing re-going. We've been having some drops back and forth, and I think he's going to have more stability. And we got a big fight coming, so forget about that for now. The red player's got knights roaming around, +2 defense and bloodlines. The Viper has a couple of knights as well, but Doubt here is outnumbered, and he's going to get a really bad fight in the purple base.
Oh yeah, I'm not really sure what the Viper is doing. He's focusing on killing the stables in the middle of the map, but at the same time, Doubt is just super exposed. That is a big mistake if you ask me. This should be a better fight for the Brazilians here. The Viper still having reasonable numbers of knights here, but not enough here to take a favorable engagement early on. It feels like in the end, pretty even kills on the knight side, but I think this could have been so much better for the Tyrant, and I think they needed better engagement there.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if Tado is slinging his resources to the Viper, then you need to get something done positively with that bigger funded army. But for now, they're standing equal footing on that flank, I suppose. The purple player's still microing around and doing good damage. Doubt and Degao have very similar crossbow numbers. Riot has 37 crossbows of his own, and Tado has 0 units to counter that. So it's a nice moment in the game for the Brazilians, but they're certainly not out of the woods yet. They will be eliminated. At least they will lose the point this week if they can't win this game.
Yeah, that's so true. But as I said, I feel it should be a bit better for them. Riot now trying to combine his forces. Maybe trying to get a go against Tado going, but not 100% sure. Look at that mass amount of towers he is having at home. I'm counting like 10 towers. So weird.
Yeah, Tado having to spend a whole lot of stone to defend himself. And yeah, switching into full sling mode for now. Just going to use those towers to be, I don't know, somewhat safe. The teal player is still roaming around with a huge number of crossbows that do not have an equal number on the other flank to be balanced out by. Those units will eventually come and impact the game, but for now they're slowly walking across the map. Viper still taking down buildings in the center. Doubt making another push with crossbows inside of the purple base.
Let's see. I believe they need to push together. And Viper even up to Imperial Age. He did really have a solid boom running for him as it seems. Only has 2 TCs, 65 villagers. But once he gets onto Cavaliers and can build more of his cheap Bourbonites and maybe even Cavaliers, it gets really dicey for those Brazilians.
Yeah, this is another one of those games where we have a bit of a ticking clock for one team and the other team is trying to buy a little time. And the Brazilians here are going to have trouble buying time because the Viper is here with quite a lot of knights, and Doubt is right beside him with a mangonel this time. Degao with just 18 military in defense can't really stop this, but he just needs to find a way to slow it down. The teal army is starting to have a few pikes mixed in with it, but it is mostly nowhere to be seen. It's slowly coming across the map to help with the Viper and Doubt's raiding.
I'm not sure if pikes are really the answer here. Way too many crossmen out still from Doubt. I think mainly going for crossmen would be fine. We see some converts here from Miguel, at least some attempts, but seems like both monks are dying before that. I believe a reasonable engagement here for the 2 Tyrants. Let's take a look how Doubt is microing there with this mangonels. Seems like somewhat reasonable, but it feels like Riot, if he's coming over, he should kill there.
Yeah, the Viper has, I believe, 5 stables or more. His Knights are coming out. He's still getting slung, and we have this big engagement in the middle of the map. Knights will focus down the Mangonel. The teal player, his crossbows have shown up, and they could be the ace in the hole for the Brazilian team because, of course, Tato without an army to help out against his opponent. Pike's coming as well as a bit of a meat shield, and it does seem like the Brazilians will be just fine to clean this up after all.
Yeah, I think this was a perfect, length of engagement for the Viper. He traded off as long as possible, stayed there as long as Doubt could still do some damage, but then instantly retreated so that he has the mass amount of Knights still left to upgrade them 2+4, 2 Cavaliers as well, and now is probably trying to kill Riot. Not 100% sure where he should go to, but seeing all the armies on the right hand side probably makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the Viper's got a lot of villagers coming across the map, too. I think he's going to castle drop. He is going to castle drop near the center of the map on Tato's side. His Cavalier upgrade will be in soon, and he'll have a bunch of Cavalier breathing down Riot's neck, and those units will continue to reinforce. And now Riot, who walked all the way across the map with that huge group of crossbows, is now walking all the way across the map again. So really, a lot of walking on the pedometer of those crossbows, but not so many kills.
Absolutely, it did help out in this fight, and now might even lose his starting TC. Let's take a look. Where is he going to imp? In a back TC? Okay, that makes way more sense. And Viper, again, doing what he does best, going for mass amount of Cavalier, running around, getting so many kills. Look at that, he is just so active, he's dominating the game, even having quite a big army at the top. But on the way to Imperial Age are also Riot, Dugao, and Doubt. So only Miguel, a bit late again.
Yeah, notably, Tato has saved a little bit of resource now, and he will click up to Castle Age, so he's going to try to be an impact on this game going forward in the Castle Age. Viper's Castle will go up. The red player is here with some Knights, but those Knights are outmatched by the Viper's Cavalier. Viper poked in on Doubt's side for a bit to help him out with purple player Dugao, but the Viper is really focusing intensely on trying to hit Riot and get his castle drop done.
I am so surprised. How is Miguel still not up to Imperial Age here? If his teammates are, he was on Knights quite early on. Should have a good boom. We see Riot holding on quite nicely. But as you said, Tato is now going to the Castle Age as well. And something we didn't mention yet, maybe in the end, the Spanish Strait would also factor a nice advantage for the Tyrants as well.
Absolutely, very good point. Imperial is coming for Doubt, Riot, as we said, Castle coming for Tato, Imperial coming for Dugao, but the Viper is doing a really nice job to raid. He's knocked down quite a few villagers from Miguel's side of the map, and of course he's hurt the Ethiopian's player in teal. We'll see if it's enough damage because Imp is coming in, and this game is still ticking forward. But yeah, it seems like Tyrant got themselves into a better position in the last few minutes of game time.
Yeah, and those Cavaliers, and that's what I said, retreating there, they put on so much pressure on the enemies, were over at the Brazilian side, but then retreated when when the Viper was about to lose all his Cavaliers, and now still with his masses around, and he will get another big raid into the Gauss eco here.
Yeah, the Viper keeping a couple units in behind the red player, but the real story is that he's headed toward purple, as you said. Dugao taking a lot of damage. His villagers can't even fit inside the TC, and that town center, of course, not doing so much damage to these nicely upgraded Cavalier. They will knock down that town center, and it does look like Viper will kill all those villagers who pop out.
And he's getting raids over and over at so many different spots here. Dugao trying to save some villagers, try to run them away, trying to get some defensive castles up, but the Viper just so dominant. He is just everywhere, sniping down Riot, and well, that is really getting tricky. Riot has quite a solid army though. Now Arbalest, Pikemen, could maybe be a bit heavier on the Pikemen front, now trying to take Halberdiers.
Yeah, it was a very nice raid from the Viper, and it was well-timed because Dugao is switching over into Mangadai. He's got 3 castles down, but he just doesn't have very many of them now. And he can't really defend against this, and the Viper setting him back gives Doubt a nice little advantage. And once Doubt has that little advantage, he's going to make it a bigger one, and the Viper will just leave, and he'll go raid the red player, who's trying to go up to Imp, and try to set him back as well. So it does seem like the Viper is everywhere in this game.
Oh god, he is so brutal in those scenarios. And yeah, you were talking about the switch to Mangudais from Nogao here, but if you go on Mangudais, you need a strong eco. You cannot do that with 70, 80 villagers. You need to have 110 or more to get onto Mass Elite Mangudais. You need a lot of upgrades from them to be really that strong, and need to have a lot of villagers on stone to get the castles up. Soon, he will have one less castle and no real control over his gold and stone. Should get really tricky for Nogao.
Yeah, Degao's castle goes down after a couple more shots from these Trebs. His Mangudai number is continuing to increase, but it is certainly not a big scary group, especially with the number of elite skirms and Arbalest that Doubt should have somewhere out on the map. Viper is still trying to push in on the teal player, and Tato, who's been very quiet for quite some time, is in the castle age. He is on 74 vils. He's boomed up a bit of an eco. And is he still slinging Nili? I haven't noticed.
I don't think so. If he's up to 75, he's also building 3 stables, trying to get the trade rolling for them. I think he will just reboom and maybe go onto Paladins, maybe go onto something else. But I will honestly believe, if I look at the overall villager counts, look at that. Tato has now more than all the other players of the Brazilians. So I think this game won't go as long. So we won't really see Tato to go into army in this game.
Yeah, there's not a lot of hope left for Brazil. There is another castle drop coming from Doubt, and that's going to be right in the thick of the resources that Degao really needed to be able to take this game. Degao's castle number is 2. His Mangudai number is, well, I don't know, but not nearly enough. And as you said, the Brazilians look like they're going to lose this 3-0 as the GGs come in.
And the GG indeed is coming in. Tato with the weird tower rush completely failed there. Didn't really do a lot of damage, didn't lose a lot of villagers, but in the end, slinging the Berbers is just such an incredibly strong strategy. And that's basically since, yeah, the, how's it called? African Kingdoms?
Mm-hmm.
African Kingdoms came out, and yeah, just so many cheap knights to be produced. Sling is a strong strategy after all, if you don't get too much damage. And Tato was towered up so nicely there. Murillo did invest quite a bit, and in the end, maybe not enough cav. We had 2 players going for archers there, and then it's tough to defend a guy who is so mobile, who has such great macro as the Viper, and Brazil couldn't really defend. Needed maybe someone to go for camels.
Yeah, maybe so, and we'll be looking back at this game a little bit and scratching our heads, thinking in the next set, how can you beat the Tyrant team? They looked awfully good, even behind a weird tower push from Tato. Maybe a failed tower push, you could call it. The kill death, though, once again, just massively in the favor of the Viper. He had the techs earlier with that sling, and it was a very nice game. I think one thing that stuck out to me is Riot's huge army that was walking back and forth across the map. He was needed on his teammate's side, and that amount of usage of that army didn't seem like enough. So some good games. Tyrant will win 3-0. I'll pop out of the achievements here, and I'll probably throw a host to you, Mr. Nili, because I have 2% battery life left on my on my streaming laptop here.
You're streaming with a laptop?
Yeah, man, I'm a crazy fool.
That has to be a strong one.
It's a pretty good laptop. It's a newer MacBook, but the charger is not keeping up with the amount of energy I'm using, I suppose. So we're down at 5% now. So thanks to Tyrant for finishing off the series before my computer just shut off. Yeah, man, it was a pleasure casting with you. This was a really fun set.
Yeah, thank you so much. As well, let me see, do I still have Killer B so everyone can throw over and follow him as well? He has the greatest voice. He is increasing heavily in game knowledge and passion, and yeah, loving that as well. So go over there, give him some love, guys. It was a pleasure.